was never book smart, I'm money smart. Make me more intelligent.
So a couple days ago, I found this video on my For You page about a person putting brawlers from Brawlers into a Hunger Game simulation. I like this idea, so I decided to do it myself. Big shout out to this person for giving me the idea. But there was a problem. You see, I was planning to put them in a designated trio, but there are only 2 people in each district. Since I was very confused, I decided to do a very reasonable thing. Now that I have each brawler, here are the districts.
As the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. Pam grabs a sword. Barley stays at the cornucopia for resources. Carl, Brock, and Mr. P work together to get as many supplies as possible. Jean runs away from the cornucopia. Rico accidentally steps on a landmine. Spike runs away from the cornucopia. Dynamite grabs a jar of fishing bait while Frank gets fishing gear. Max runs away from the cornucopia. Sandy runs away from the cornucopia. Shelly runs away from the cornucopia. Crow grabs a jar of fishing bait while Penny gets fishing gear. Bo shoots a poisonous blow dart into Bia's neck, slowly killing her.
My aim is true.
Poco runs away from the cornucopia. Colt cannot handle the circumstances and commits suicide. Tara strangles El Primo after engaging in a fist fight. Jesse runs away from the cornucopia. Nita runs away from the cornucopia. Leon runs away from the cornucopia. Tara defeats Brock in a fight, but spares his life. Spike makes a wooden spear. Frank catches Jessie off guard and kills her. Barley collects fruit from a tree. Dynamite tends to Poco's wounds. Sandy, Leon, Jean, and Shelly hunt for other tributes. Pam receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Nita overhears Carl and Max talking in the distance. Mr. P runs away from Crow. Penny discovers a river. Bo picks flowers. Mr. P cooks his food before putting his fire out. Barley starts a fire. Penny sees a fire, but stays hidden. Spike, Bo, Carl, Leon, and Nita sleep in shifts. Brock and Crow run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Frank stays awake all night. Dynamite sees a fire, but stays hidden. Jean stays awake all night. Pam, Shelly, and Max cheerfully sing songs together. Poco quietly hums. Sandy tries to treat his infection. Tara looks at the night sky. Tara receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Leon picks flowers. Mr. P dies of dysentery. Penny, Max, Carl, and Sandy hunt for other tributes. Shelly injures herself. Nita makes a wooden spear. Poco bashes Frank's head against a rock several times. Brock, Crow, and Barley hunt for other tributes. Dynamite begs for Jean to kill him. He refuses, keeping Dynamite alive. Bo kills Pam while she is resting. Spike injures himself. Shelly attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Dynamite lets Sandy into his shelter. Poco is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Leon lets Nita into his shelter. Penny cries herself to sleep. Barley, Max, Spike, and Carl sleep in shifts. Bo and Tara tell stories about themselves to each other. Jean looks at the night sky. Brock is awoken by nightmares. Crow tries to sing himself to sleep. Sandy decapitates Shelly with a sword. Bo dies trying to escape the arena. Leon collects fruit from a tree. Spike is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Dynamite searches for a water source. Poco receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Carl is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Nita diverts Barley's attention and runs away. Brock and Crow hunt for other tributes. Tara runs away from Max. Penny unknowingly eats toxic berries. Jean discovers a river. Jean defeats Leon in a fight, but spares his life. Brock sees a fire, but stays hidden. Dynamite tries to treat his infection. Carl climbs a tree to rest. Barley, Max, Poco, and Tara sleep in shifts. Crow receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Sandy and Spike tell stories about themselves to each other. Nita receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Leon kills Poco with a sickle. Nita attacks Barley, but he manages to escape. Sandy tries to sleep through the entire day. Crow makes a wooden spear. Jean tends to Max's wounds. Dynamite makes a slingshot. Spike and Brock split up to search for resources. Tara runs away from Carl. Barley looks at the night sky. Nita receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Leon is awoken by nightmares. Crow looks at the night sky. Max begs for Spike to kill her. He reluctantly obliges, killing Max. Jean poisons Tara's drink. She drinks it and dies. Carl tends to Brock's wounds. Dynamite quietly hums. Sandy receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Crow and Leon work together for the day. Spike forces Nita to kill Jean or Sandy. She refuses to kill, so Spike kills her instead. Barley fishes. Carl begs for Dynamite to kill him. He refuses, keeping Carl alive. Brock unknowingly eats toxic berries. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tributes' families. Barley decides not to go to the feast. Sandy decides not to go to the feast. Carl decides not to go to the feast. Spike decides not to go to the feast. Leon gathers as much food into a bag as he can before fleeing. Crow decides not to go to the feast. Jean sobs while gripping a photo of his friends and family. Dynamite decides not to go to the feast. Jean and Leon track down and kill Dynamite. Spike, Carl, and Barley discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Sandy strangles Crow after engaging in a fist fight. Carl and Leon hunt for other tributes. Sandy silently snaps Barley's neck. Spike throws a knife into Jean's chest. Sandy thinks about winning. Spike and Leon work together to drown Carl. Leon runs away from Spike. Sandy bleeds out due to untreated injuries. Leon dies trying to escape the arena.